Hi everyone, welcome to Frequency Bone Summer Music Connection 11. This is video 12. And in this series, making the most of what you have, I'd like to say that this specifically will be about trying to make the most of other kinds of art to help you see art. Now, I include in that the great art of nature, which is not human-made. So you can learn so much from watching organic life, for they are not without rhythm, pitch, or timbre. So one of my greatest teachers is Mother Nature. And it's art. It's real art. That includes, of course, birds singing, dogs barking, cats meowing, humans talking. You ever listen to people talk? You listen to their phrasing? So when you play your instrument, do you tell a story like you're speaking, or like it's poetry or oratory? Or does it always have to be thought of as just singing? Well, singing poetically, singing with statements and questions and answers and inquiries and wonderings. So it's more alive, since it's coming through a human being. There's a lot of other possibilities. And see what you can do with nature's elements. You're surrounded with them. Maybe you're caught by the honking of cars in Boston. Looking at driving patterns. Looking at different kinds of human behaviors. The way clouds move. It's all there. It's all there. So, other kinds of human-made art. How about some museums? Now you might say, well, I don't really like going to museums. Well, don't try to take the whole thing in. Go to a few exhibits. Now, it might not speak to you the same way music does, but it's still worth seeing the connection, seeing the forms and shapes, seeing some of the artists and their use of color. It's all phrasing, it's all pitch, it's all timbre, it's all rhythm. It's all atmospheric producing at some level, and you'll find others, of course, in paintings that'll speak to you. I mean, as a kid, I read a lot of Charles Schulz, the Peanuts author. And I was very into drawing when I was younger. And I thought, this is amazing what this person can say and project out of facial expression with using some lines and dots and dashes. In order to do that, he needed to really be inside of the character. And these are characters I think he grew up with. It's my feeling. Or maybe others were different parts of his own nature. But man, you don't need to be a Rembrandt to express what he was expressing. So you can ask yourself, where else do you see the art in things? Okay? So it's a giant subject. How about dance? Oh, you want to learn about nuance and phrasing and timing? Watch different kinds of dance. When I see a Rolf Smedvig play, it sounded like someone dancing. And he was a figure skater, and I've probably mentioned this before. But I could hear it in his playing. It was so da. He had lift and buoyancy, which a lot of times you hear more out of string players and woodwind players. That can really be missing from brass players. This whole training like ta. That's one brushstroke. So learn from other instruments. Just don't listen to trombones. It's great, but listen to other things, please. When you're sitting and counting all sorts of measures in the orchestra before you come in, are you listening to certain things? Are you listening and getting a feel of the natures of the flute? Not just say, yeah, I recognize the flute. That's like saying, yeah, I can tell the difference between a squirrel and a rabbit. Have you ever really looked into their natures and how different their characters actually are? And then the similarities, of course. And you say, yes, I've seen humans like both of those creatures. Do you count your measures like a fox before coming in? Or are you more like a turtle? Turtle has a nice shell, probably keeps them protected from nerves. You could learn so much. We've talked about the elements, looking at them. And then there's architecture. Why do the different places on earth have different architecture? Fashion, clothing, shoes if you're a shoe hound. My grandfather was a real shoe hound. He liked shoes. Not really expensive shoes, but he liked different kinds, and he would talk about the different ways that they walk, and when he walked in them, and different levels of comfort and bounce. And this one had a little meshy thing on top so your feet would stay cool. He was really into it. You can look into, if you're really into cars, which seems like there's a lot of people who are, of course there's skill and art in that, and how they move and how they operate. So there's so many different kinds of art. The cooking arts. You can learn much. And one thing I love about all of these things, if you ever talk to someone who knows a lot about these subjects, any one of them, isn't it amazing how much they can say about it? And they feel subtle nuances that go way beyond the physicality, but really get into the essence and life of, and expression of, that very thing. So building relationships like this is thickening and deepening your relationship with art, poetry, oratory, good books, some movies, of course. A lot of great movies of art have something. Try to find that something special in everything. And you'll probably get closer to feeling the art in all things. And then when that's kind of expendable art, meaning it doesn't have a lasting aspect to it, Because there's things that seem like they want to last for a very long time in the art worlds. Great writings from ancient times to all the way out through history that we know. There's messages in there that don't seem to go away. Then there's those that are fit for a specific time period. And then maybe they back off a little bit during other eras. And then there's things that should just be flushed. Now, I just mean because maybe they're not useful anymore. So, encouraging, another way of saying, make the most of your time again too. And making the most of finding out about art. It'll nourish your playing. In the midst of all your Arbans and Koprash and Rochus, Bordonis, Charliers, Bonas, all the different exercises you might do. Make sure you're nourishing yourself with art. For real art is a living thing. It's alive. So, until next time.